It's the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I'm not counting the offseason between his rookie season and here and his between college and his rookie season. Because that's not, you don't really have a lot from the team. You don't know what to expect. He comes in his rookie year, that's 18-19. So the summer of 19 becomes his first real offseason. We get a glimpse of him in summer league. We start to see a bunch of his passing. That's the first that I saw in that 19 summer league of his real passing ability. You were like, whoa, he's kind of slinging it out there. Then he comes in. His rookie year is like he should have spent a lot of time in the G League, but the Baines and Horford injuries kept him in Boston. Then he had the hip injury that cost him like 30 plus games. And so half his sophomore season is wiped out. Plus the pandemic hits. And then he's in the bubble. And then there's the quick turnaround. And now we had this season and all of the stuff that happened this season. The fact that he emerged as kind of like the consensus, yeah, he should be starting, to me is absolutely amazing. That with the complete lack of the one thing that I thought he needed, which was playing time, that he got to this point. I don't know if you're as surprised as I am, because I am like really, really impressed that he got to this point.
Yeah, I don't know. So, I mean, obviously, I'm totally biased here because I could see the glimpses and I wanted to see more of it. And I understood why we didn't always see it. And obviously, Brad's trust was a big thing. And, you know, why anybody plays and you know, not being available and then being there for, like you said, those injuries when he should have been in the G League, maybe being able to show what he could do more at that point. So it was a rough patch there. But, you know, I do think it just hit a point even maybe midway through this year where it was like, man, every time he plays 20 minutes, they did like really good things happen, but he has so rarely hit 20 minutes that it was almost flabbergasting that it didn't happen more often. And so, you know, like I can sit here and kill the Celtics that, you know, was moving Tice the right move? Like clearly not. They needed somebody by the end of the season that could have stretched the floor and given you a little bit more of a offensive versatility, especially as Rob's dealing with these injuries. But I also understand it. Like they needed to clear that playing time for him. They were committed to Tristan, and you know, could they have swallowed hard on Tristan and maybe made a tougher decision there? And how would that have come? Like backlash from signing a guy and then moving him. I don't know. So like, there's all things you can second guess it in the aftermath. But I'm glad they committed to Rob. Like for me, it always comes back to this. There's a demarcation point where you have to just figure out what you've got. Like sometimes guys just don't play, they don't play, and then we get to the like 2 months before their rookie extension eligible, and we're like, what are they? Right. You know, are you paying for this? And I think they had to legitimately figure out what is Rob. Now I don't know if that changes anything going into this summer, you know, because of all the variables involved. But at least I know, like, if he's healthy, he is a legitimate NBA starter caliber center who makes this team better in a variety of ways. And I think they needed to figure that out. So even if I'm just looking back on positives that came out of this year, to me, that's a huge one. Like they had finally just committed to figuring out what they got in Rob. And now, again, injuries throw some craziness into this. But I think they're a lot more confident that if they do end up paying this summer, or even if it's further down the road, that they have a player that can be a difference maker for them.
Yeah, and the thing about what Robert Williams became this year is he had shown like, all right, pick and roll hard. Everybody wants to throw him a lob. We know how that's going to go. And then defensively, he's, you know, he had his moments, he had some lapses and whatever, but you know, he's like a pogo stick, and when a play needs to be made, he's there to block shots and generally be okay. That was the baseline for him. But then this season, he got out onto the perimeter offensively and was dribble handoffs. It was the handbacks. It was the really high pick and rolls and the passing out of that high post. And that level of, wow, we need to have Robert Williams out there, not because he only puts pressure on the defense while he rolls to the rim, but because when he runs the ball, when we run the ball through him in the high post, our guys can really start cutting hard and he's going to find them. That to me is the biggest development. If he was just the roller, the dunker, the Clint Capella type
Yep.
that everybody wants to compare him to, like, okay, like that's nice. But to me, that becomes a two-headed center type of thing where I would have gotten really, really mad about losing Daniel Tice, because the combination of those two is like the difference between throwing a fastball pitcher out there and a junk ball pitcher out there. But now with this other development, it's to me unquestioned that you need Robert Williams out there as an offensive threat, because he, along with Marcus Smart, is your best passer. And you run the ball. If Marcus Smart and he are out there running pick and roll, it's not just him putting pressure on the rim. Marcus, you can actually run a pick and pop, and he's not really popping. But what he does is he pops out, and then a guy comes up from the corner, the guy who was spotting up in the corner, if it's like Jaylen Brown. Now, instead of him being a floor spacer, you pop it out to Robert Williams. Now you run a dribble handoff with Jaylen Brown. And that pick and pop becomes not the traditional he's a shooting threat. It becomes, oh shit, now there's another action that we've got to defend here. And that becomes super, super problematic and almost impossible to defend if they can get that working if he's out there.
And he's got that sneaky mid-range game too. Like I feel like am I confident he's going to shoot a high percentage?
Set shot, but it's there.
It's there. I'm telling you, if he's got space, which they're going to give him, until he starts making it consistently. So, but that's it. Like I can see the base for what he can be, and it just keeps evolving. At some point in his career, he'll shoot threes. I don't know when it'll happen, and it's not a priority right now, but they will eventually have Robert Williams shooting threes. That's just what they do. And so I don't know if it'll be. I have no idea if it's going to be a high percentage. If you told me 5 years ago that Aaron Baines was going to be a 40% 3-point shooter for this team, I would have been laughing at you. But these things happen. Right. And, with more time on the court, again, I don't think he's going to come back next year and have that in his arsenal, but I can see it down the road. So you just kind of, you know that the base is there. So much of watching this team in the post-Horford era was like, oh my God, they desperately need a guy in the high post who can facilitate. And nobody on their roster could do it except for Robert Williams. And so it's just so much of what he does is vital to what they do. And more importantly, let's not forget that Jason Tatum came out and said, my favorite guy to play with, and who are you trying to please moving forward? True. Jason Tatum. So for me, it comes down to there's a lot of arrows in the figure out how this works. And I don't know if you got to get him some bubble wrap for the offseason and post game and all that, but let's figure out how to keep Robert Williams on the court, and maybe you won't go through a 500 season.